Yeah, so I actually just want to get the thing where it runs around, and then I'll work on the upgrading and stuff, because after watching most of you folks, I understand that robots are never really done. So I get that. So most of my projects never really done either. So that was supposed to be a joke. I hope I made some of you laugh.
No,
You'll fit right in.
There's a lot of truth to that.
So here's the deal. I have me a Latte Panda.
Whoa, nice.
And I'm going to run ROS on this thing because I'm a Microsoft MVP, and it runs on Windows, and I'm dumping into the deep end of the pool here. I decided for my power, I'm going to do one of these things. I got a 3D printed holder with some battery clips.
Oh, there you go.
Fits right in. Figure it'll run pretty good. I'm going to need some buck converters for the voltage, and I've got this really fancy motor controller here I found. This thing has got a 120-page manual to it. I'm like, what the heck, man? That's crazy.
Yeah, I've used those before. They're pretty powerful.
So, of course, I didn't know what I'm doing, but I did a bunch of research and hope I didn't stomp myself in the foot too badly. So the real deal is, I got to figure.
Is that an ion motion?
I got to figure out how to get all this stuff in the box. Now, I had started by planning on mounting this battery back here, but then after talking to my good friend Carl, he says I need to balance this thing out, and all this weight back here is a bad plan.
Yep.
So I agree. That's exactly what happened to me. I had one of these big Makita batteries hanging off the back of my robot, and it totally screwed up the drive. So I moved it to the middle.
So with that in mind, I was going to put it somewhere in here. I haven't quite decided yet. And then me being an expansive guy, found some of these nice plates that fit with all the same holding things. And I was trying to do a 2-level thing and this kind of stuff, and I spent a lot of time trying to fit it out because I know I need to get the battery out on occasion and that kind of thing. But listening to you folks and watching what you're doing, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is and this is where I need opinions and tell me what I'm doing wrong and all this kind of stuff, just a little building thing. If I can get the Latte Panda down inside this in a decent fashion, I got to put it in I'll probably print a enclosure box, standoff, something, get it some power, get a few one of these things working around. Eventually on this tower here, I'm going to want to put a swivel thing with servo so I can have a camera on it and pan and scan kind of thing. And I think the very first thing I'm going to do is I got my dogs, little ones, think they're going, it just occurred to me just the other day. I don't want to do crazy things other than make the thing go forward and backwards with a joystick at some place with Bluetooth, because this thing will talk Bluetooth and all kinds of stuff. So after I get that done, the first real milestone was to sit this in one of my rooms where my dogs like to go, let's say, not outside, have accidents all the time. And if I see a dog run in there, I chase them and make noise so they will leave before they do any of their business. So that's just the idea. I don't know that I'm able to. It seems simple enough to do because I can take pictures of the dogs. I do cognitive service stuff already, so I can recognize dogs and that kind of thing. So, I mean, just listening to you guys has been helpful in all you're talking about. So, and I'll be quiet now for a second. If anybody wants to ask questions,
okay. Harold, the Husky lens, the object recognition, one of them is a dog. So it might be interesting to see if you could do that right with that. The other thing that I can tell you about where you put your controller board.
Yes.
You got to be absolutely sure that all of the ports have access. You don't want to be taking it in and out.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to shoot it to the side and cut little holes. Or you see that's the problem with this guy. He's got ports on both sides. Actually, yeah, ports on both sides that you're probably going to want to get to. You're going to want to get to the SD card. You're going to want to get to the serial ports.
Yeah.
I would say I would even think about putting him up on a deck, up with the bottom of that plate. Pull him up, yeah.
like something.
Yeah, something like that. I think you'd be better off than putting them in the hole. What if you put your battery to the side?
Like,
Could you cut a hole? No. Put it inside. Will it fit inside?
will it fit inside? Oh, like something like that?
Well, I wouldn't think. No, I was thinking sideways.
Sideways. Oh, you mean something like this, but maybe cut a hole.
Yeah. Cut a hole for your. I mean, that might be a way to do it.
No, I think you want to have the battery basically flat, so put it down with the the bottom be on the bottom, not the other way, or that way. Yeah, that might work. Yeah,
But if you do
depends
that,
how you charge it.
You'll have to cut a hole in the bottom, and I don't think you're going to do that because.
No, okay, flip it around, flip it opposite the way you had it there, like that. Now, can you turn that? Okay, there, yeah. And then on the other board, does it have to be flat? Can it not be upright, sort of, too?
Oh, this board here?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what's on that, but yeah, something like that. I mean, turn it the other way, but yeah, I was thinking.
You know, I hadn't thought about that. If we did something like this.
There, yeah, more
There
like
you
that.
go.
Some kind of deal where I had a plate and mounted it like that, maybe?
Now you're talking.
Yeah, something like that where you can basically raise it up or lower it down. Sort of.
The big thing, Harold, you got to be able to access all those ports.
Yep, I know.
While you're running, while you're running, but you don't.
So where are all the ports on that?
You don't want to take your robot apart to make a little change.
See,
the question I have is on that board. Where exactly are all the places you have to plug into that thing?
Okay, I can show you. These ports over here are not so consequential. The only thing over here, I have one. Here, let's see. Ooh, look at this. See how sexy I can be with my OBS. Hold on a second.
OBS.
Okay.
Open source broadcasting system.
Yeah.
Same thing Ron was using.
So on this side over here, Ethernet, don't give a crap.
Yeah.
And this is power. This is an SD card, which I may eventually care for data logging, but I don't care about that at the moment.
You might, yeah.
This is power. This is power. On the other side of the board, I got an HDMI out. I got some USB. Yeah, 3 and 2.
Okay. So on the top and the bottom, or well, let's see, that would be your left and your right. There's nothing you plug in on those things, other than less like the bottom.
Yeah, this is actually a complete Arduino breakout. This has got an Arduino board baked in on this one.
Okay.
So you use the Fermata to talk to it.
So that you want. Okay, what about the bottom? The bottom only has what? Ours?
Bottom has
the bottom of the board. Okay. On your left side. On your left side, what's down there?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes.
Yes,
This is these are a bunch of connections for I forget exactly what we connect up to.
For power? For the motors or that?
Power, but it's more like I don't know, fucking servos in there. That sort of
Grove connector expansion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Grove connectors.
Okay, so my question is, what happens if you put that on its side and then basically have something that slides in and out with maybe the pin that would slide into? And that way you could get to everything that you need to. In other words, basically on your left side, have a plug on the bottom so that, that...
Oh, that one right there, and we just slide that into something and it
right. And it plug, well, actually on the bottom, or the top, whichever. But the left or the right side, that you just basically slide it down into that plug. And then you basically have a channel. Yeah, like something like that strategy.
Okay,
and
then
that way you can get to everything.
Yeah, see if I go back over.
Harold, do you have a hot glue gun?
Yeah, the wife does. That means I do too.
There you go.
Yeah, basically, but I'm thinking it's just sort of a slide in. Basically, how to describe it? Basically, a fuse. You know, like the fuse you put in a car that would be the fuse that you would slide it down into the plug. If I make sense.
That's your blade server, Howard.
Yeah, something on that line. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's actually a really cool idea because if I might not need the whole plate here, if I could
Right, not a smaller plate, but some type of plate that, yeah, basically slides in.
that provides me power and all the other junk that I have to have that we don't talk to this very often.
Right.
I think
What else comes out over here? I will tell you. Let me give you a little bit more craziness because of course you just can't buy one thing and leave it alone. This board, this is a board that fits on top of this directly that breaks out all of that header pin and adds a few more things to it, and also has some extra power that I believe powers the whole board to do more things.
That's nice. That's nice. You'll find a lot of use for that one, Harold.
Yeah, I'm thinking I will too, because I don't know how many different servo-y things or movie things or reporting things I'm going to end up having.
But I will tell you this: you're going to reprogram this sucker more times than you can dream of.
I have no doubt.
That's why you're going to want to make sure that you don't have to tear anything apart to do the things that you're going to have to reprogram it and change wirings and stuff, because it just comes with the territory.
I mean, one of the things that I did on my robot was that because I've got a whole bunch of stuff hidden between the chassis, my motor controllers and all of that, and I've taken this thing apart probably at least a couple hundred times. But the thing that helped me was making some of these little wiring harnesses. So there's actually 3 wiring harnesses that connect the bottom and the top. So when I want to take the robot apart, I undo 4 screws and then unplug those wiring harnesses, and they're colored and color-coded. So it makes it easy to actually plug it back together again. And so what you could do is take all of the important signals off of the computer board into a wiring harness that you custom build, and then just plug that into the rest of the robot when you plug it in.
I agree with them. Yeah. It'll be more reliable too.
I mean, something like this is like the swivel that I picked up somewhere. It's been laying around forever and ever and ever. And you're talking about making up some wiring harnesses like this, the color coded in places.
Yeah, either color code or key your connectors so you can't plug them in backwards by accident.
Yeah.
Yes.
The big lesson here is don't design for like your production intentions. Design for prototyping and testing.
Okay.
You're a long ways away from sort of hardening it. The only thing I'd say is maybe with a lot of dogs around, you want to keep your wires tucked away and things like that. But aside from that, design for a lot of rapid assembly and disassembly. And,
I really like that slot-in idea to plug in for power and what little bit I care on that side. And then I can do other things with that.
Hey, Harold, there's a couple comments I'd like to share. So first of all, on the wire harness, if you guys can see my screen now.
Yes.
There's always the good old duct tape, right? Or gaffer tape. So what I found really handy is to just take these individual Dean's connectors, as you can see, and I'll just make a harness by binding them up with the gaffer's tape.
I got you.
So I'll just make my own custom harness, and then it makes it. There's some buried down in here too, but it just makes it much easier when you just have one. You get them all in the right way that you want them, and then you just unplug them and plug them in as if they came that way.
Okay.
And the other thing is that when you talk about that blade plug-in stab idea, you want to be really careful, because when you look at the connectors on that Latte Panda, they're not meant to be used as a blade. So what's going to happen is if you put weight on there and you get vibration, it's going to rip the connector off the Latte Panda.
That'll be the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be really cautious about, mechanically having the blade slide in is great, but make sure that you have some mechanical looseness on the cable harness.
Understand.
And then the last thing I suggest is, if you think about making it easy on yourself, that battery, I presume you're going to have to pull it off to slap it on another charger.
Yes, sir.
So the way that you have it right there is perfect, because if you just drop it in like that with the weight kind of centered between the wheels, then you can easily pull it off, put it on the charger, and when you're ready, put it back in. You don't have to like upside down, decouple, unscrew everything.
Yeah, that's what I was going for with the battery. One, these things, they're not exactly inexpensive, but they're not too expensive. And this is 1.3 amp hours at the moment. And this is the smallest one they make. You can buy these up to 5.0 amp hours if you want.
Yeah.
Well,
Monsters.
and that's how many volts?
18 volts.
So 1.3 amp hours, 18 volts, you're over 20 watt hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm using a 3 amp hour here. So,
Cool.
and they actually put up 20 volts actually.
Yeah, 3 amp hours, 20 volts. You got a nice watt hour capacity going on.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it runs for, we'll just see how long it runs. I mean, I figure I should get some decent runtime out of it. And then if I decide I want way more, I mean, these things fit. I mean, somebody else designed these really, really well, not myself, to fit a whole bunch of things, right? So I'm happy with that. And, you know, spend $100, you get a 5 amp hour version of this. And if that's paying enough, then I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the other thing, Harold, is that you want to make sure that your robot doesn't run through anything your dogs leave behind, because it will literally track it all over your whole house.
I've seen the Roomba video. Yeah,
I actually designed a pooper scooper robot as one of my first big outdoor projects. Never ended up finishing it up, but I have about 500 pictures of shit.
Oh man,
my training algorithm.
Oh no, that's funny. Do you remember there's that gal that came to DPRG a couple years ago? She was making a hexapod that would pick up her dog's poop with like pincers. I'm thinking,
see that.
Have you even thought about this?
Yeah.
No, what you really want to do is get a Roomba. I saw the other day somewhere a Roomba where they put a propeller so it basically flew over the carpet. So you want a helicopter basically robot.
Some of my friends were talking about Roombas and things because we're all, you know, homeschooling now, you know, at the house, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they're like, well, you know, I was looking for a new one, and because this one does okay, but I need a little bit more. And so I pointed them at their Makita version. It's got 200 hours of runaround time. It's like yay tall. It's like it's got more power. It's like Tim the Tool Man made a Roomba. You know, it's pretty awesome.
I haven't seen that one. Okay, interesting. I have 2 or 3 laying around somewhere.
Well, one of the things that I found with the Makita stuff is I already had a whole bunch of Makita tools, and their smaller batteries don't have a battery indicator, but these ones have this nice little lighted battery indicator. And they also sell these little clips that fit on the top, and then you actually get a 5-volt USB off that, but mine burned out. And so what I did is I hacked it and just put a regular power connector on there. And so I've got an 20-volt output coming in to my Thunderboard. And these clips are, I don't know what they are in the US. I had to get mine off Amazon because they don't sell them in New Zealand. But they make these for the 18-volt. And then I've also got the smaller 12-volt batteries, which are quite tiny. But they go up to, I think, 2 or 3 amp hours as well. And these go from 1 to 3 and 5 amp hours. And they're kind of pricey, but I have a bunch of them already. So it was a real natural choice. And they're obviously the battery charger works well and everything. It's a great battery.
Hey, Murray, could you show the clip again? I missed it because I was looking at Harold's.
Yeah, it's actually got a part number of ADP05, and mine burned out, but it does actually have a USB output. The 5-volt.
Little clip. Yeah, there you go.
But it looks like that, and it's ADP05, like that. Yeah. And they make them both with a clip, like a belt clip, and without. And I could only get the one with the belt clip, otherwise I would have got it without that. But that's actually meant for your belt.
I've just put in the chat the Makita robot of vacuum of doom kind of thing. I put a link to it. You know,
nice.
The other thing with the Ryobis that I was looking at, like I'm not ready to build a robot this big, but they also make a 40-volt version of this to power lawnmowers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those things are just beast.
Yeah.
You know,
we have an electric lawnmower with a 50 volt. I think it's an Australian AEG. But the batteries are like the size of a milk carton. They're huge.
Yeah. I've got a 53-volt Echo weed trimmer, and for 45 minutes to an hour, it's as good as gas, man. It just rips through everything on the planet. And I go try to charge it for 3 or 4 hours after that. But for that 45 minutes, which I'm already wore out anyway, that's good. Nice balance. It's just as good as having a gas motor. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Harold, you probably don't want to get too high on the voltage because, like, your motor driver is going to have to be able to tolerate that voltage.
Yeah, I've got a buck converter that's going to drop that down the 18 to 12 for that. I've got one. I have no idea how well they work or how well they don't work, so I get to play with that. I'm sure I'm going to blow it up. I've got two of them. I've got one of this type here, which has got a cool looking LED screen, and
I've got one of them.
one a little more simple. I figured I bought a couple different styles. I figure one of these will do what it's supposed to do, and I stand a good chance of blowing up at least one of them too while I'm playing with it. I'm just being realistic. And
That's it's just a matter of looking at the wattage, right? You can estimate the watts of your load, and then those things will tell you what watts they can dissipate.
Right.
According to this, it'll do. It says it does 5 amps, but it only recommends 4.5, and it'll do anything from 2 to 36 volts down to anything with a volt and a half over or under. And you adjust them. I don't know how well they work. It's like $10-12 off of Amazon, and I got them. I had them for a while. I just ain't played with them and powered them on. But if you see it's on Tuesday nights, you'll see when I'm powered on. That how much I promise.
It's the watts that matter though, because if you try and draw too many, then it's not gonna. It'll either overheat or it'll shut itself off or something.
It does come with a little heat sink for the I think it's
switcher. Yeah.
And it says if you're running it anything over 2 amps, you want the heat sink. So I'm probably going to, each one of these motors here is rated for up to 2 amps at 12 volts. So I don't know how much you guys are going way more than I do about how much these can normally cool as they go, and they do. So we're going to find out. I tried to match numbers before I started doing so.
Yeah, I think the RoboClaw motor controller that you have will accept up to like 34 volts.
Yeah, it's a beast. This motor controller is a beast. I'm like,
and it's also got a little 5 volt 1 amp output on it, so you can power some things that don't take too much current off that as well. So it's got its own little converter in there for you to do that. But if
battery eliminator converter.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool controller.
Yep.
I was just doing a test with the Latte Panda here, and the Latte Panda is setting idle, doing nothing other than showing a Windows screen on it because it's got Windows on it. It's using about 0.5 amp. So as soon as you kick that up, doing edge detection or any kind of IoT on the edge, cognitive service type thing, it's going to eat that's going to go way up. I don't know how far. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how fast it's going to go, but it ain't going to be 0.5 amp. I know that much.
Well, if it's like a Raspberry Pi, go 2 or 2.5 amps.
Yeah. I've got another constant rate buck converter around here somewhere. It's supposed to pick out 5 volts at a couple of amps, and I don't know if that's going to be enough either. So I've got lots of these things to play with, and hopefully I don't let the smoke out of too many of them.
Yeah. I think a lot of us are using like 3-cell lithium ion.
Okay.
So you get, fully charged like 12.6 volts, and kind of the nominal is, what is it, 11.1, I think.
Gotcha.
So you can just reduce your complexity if your motor's working that voltage. You don't have to have buck converters or additional buck converters to bring the voltage down, because the same sort of thing. Your motors are only going to be rated for so much power, And if you exceed that, you could burn your motors out too. So.
Yep. I'm trying to avoid as much as I can, but I just know that I make mistakes like everybody else.
Oh yeah.
Plenty of them. I've seen my presentations, a lot of them. She's seen what folk I let out of things. She knows.
Hopefully.
Hey guys, I think Mr. Anderson has some comments on something, and we've been struggling to get his audio working. Dave, what were you going to chime in with?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Harold, could you turn your robot over and let me see the bottom of it again?
Certainly. You see all that?
Yes. So okay, you have basically an Omni skid there for your third wheel for your caster.
Yes, sir.
And can you get us in close on the back of the motors, and let's see what would be required to put an encoder on those.
Hey, can you see that?
I can see, yeah, tip it a little bit. So there's no shaft sticking out there.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
Connect to. All right, let's see the other end of it where the wheels connect. Look down between the wheel and the chassis. So there is enough room there you could attach a disc to the shaft that comes out and put a sensor to read that disc, an optical sensor to read that disc. So you could actually put encoders on those wheels. The reason I say that is because it's real valuable to have encoders on there to do a PID controller, separate and distinct from trying to do any odometry. To be able to basically control the speed and the torque. What a PID controller does basically is it gives you torque control in software. And that's a real basic fundamental robot skill that even the simplest robot can really profit from. Will that battery you have, I've got those Ryobi batteries. I've got about 6 or 7 of those. Can you put that battery in upside down, the same place you had it, but upside down?
There?
Yeah. Yeah. My experience has been that the battery is going to be the heaviest part of the robot, and what you want is that weight as low as you can get it and behind the main wheel. Now that may make it awkward to put it in and take it out. I probably would just put some Velcro on the back of the battery to stick it in place.
And just unbalance it when I need it. Because I mean, I can make. See, I was kind of toying with this because I can certainly. This is just a piece of printed plastic, right? And I'm going to have to modify it anyway to do whatever I need to do with it. And I can certainly put different connectors on the thing. I got a bunch of these little XT connections, and I think they're XT30s or something, but I think they should be enough for what I'm doing. And and I can do a bunch of those things and maybe mount something up or get some panel mounts for those and be able to plug and unplug that thing. So this can be a movable thing.
And that's a good idea. I like that. I like that, Harold. That makes sense.
Getting that battery in there as low as possible, and then up close to the drive wheels. Yeah, like that, and symmetrically balanced, so you have equal weight on both wheels.
Yeah.
One of the problems when you have a three-wheel, or rather a two-wheel robot with a caster, is the distribution of weight. If there's not enough weight on the main drive wheel, then you lose traction. So you have to have, you want most of the weight over the drive wheels. However, if you have too much weight on the drive wheels, then the robot tends to tip forward whenever you slow down or whenever you go down a slope or something like that. At the other end of the spectrum, if there's too much weight on the tail caster, then it tends to make the wheel slide sideways in a turn. And that makes all kinds of problems. So you might want to play around with that. And as I say, just some strips of Velcro would allow you to move it around. The other point I was going to make is that my experience is that you're going to need to get to that processor board all the time, and there's going to be lots and lots of wires, or rat's nets of wires connected to it. Yeah. So if it was me, I would just put that processor board on some standoffs and have it sit flat and maybe a little bit above the plane of the robot. So you can run the wires in underneath them to kind of dress them down, run it underneath the card.
At one point I was
turn your battery back sideways like you had it, and put that controller card in the space behind it, and I'd put it on maybe 1.5 or 2 inch standoffs. Get it up in the air, so you can get all around even a little bit above the box, and so you can tuck wires in underneath it, because you're going to have a lot of wires connected to that thing. It can real quickly become a mess, and you're going to have to mess with that all the time. As you work on the robot, you're going to be constantly messing with that card, and I would make it as easily to access as possible, not put it down in the box. But as I said, just put it on 4 standoffs and have it stick up high like that. Okay, that's all I have to say.
You know what I could even do is, because I got a little room here. Like I could put this back here a little bit, 2 long ones and 2 short ones, and have that way up. Maybe, I don't know.
Sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like and then this gives me lots more room in here to do all kinds of stuff.
Well, you have another controller board that you wanted to put down in there, right? The motor controller.
Yeah, the motor controller.
Yeah, that would leave you more room for that.
Yeah, I'm going to bet that once this thing goes in, unless I blow it up, it's probably never coming out, but I might have to unattach and reattach. Like for motors and stuff, I was going to do pigtails and things and do these kind of things going to the motors, so I don't have to, I could get to the motors underneath.
Okay.
That controller also has tunable PIDs on it. So you're going to want to tune it before you lock it all down.
Yeah. Whoever said that they had taken their robot apart and put it together 100 times, that's exactly right. You can't envision now what you're eventually going to end up with. And so you need to make it as flexible as possible and as easy as possible to take it apart and put it together and to get to every connector, even the ones you now think that you're not going to need. Because down the road you're going to say, damn, if I could only get to that connector, I could hook up this cool new sensor I have, or whatever.
You know, I had these plates specifically for raising these things up and doing this, and not that I'm not going to use them, but I'm rethinking this, because it's going to, one of these plates is going to close off everything to get down here. So to get to almost anything, I'm going to, regardless of the battery, it's got to come out, and then getting back underneath there might be a problem.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, going and back, yeah.
I just put it on some standoffs. Put that controller board on some standoffs and get it up high where you can get all around it and underneath it.
Yeah, and Harold, the one thing I also might suggest is that your weight is going to be critical in getting that balance right. But if those metal plates have any weight to them at all, you've got an issue with weight that you don't need, because it's not a structural plate, really. You're just using them for, well, you might want to use plastic. And the other side of it is that if you're taking this robot outside or going to use it, having a metal plate with a lot of wires around is a possible shorting situation where you can get an accidental connection there, whereas plastic's not going to be a problem.
And you can 3D print the plates.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There you go.
That's something I can do, is do a little 3D printing. So.
Yep.
Harold, what does it say on your shirt?
On my shirt?
Yes.
Raptor Trainer.
It's backwards from where I sit.
Oh, here, let me see if I can fix that. Hold on. How's that? That any better? Or not?
Small.
Just small?
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey.
Raptor Trainer.
Yeah. It's kind of real hard. This is what I'm playing. So what I've got set up here, I want to do some more videos and building this robot. I don't know who's going to watch it. Anybody's going to care. But Twitch stuff, YouTube stuff. I'm doing this robot. I do have a YouTube channel that people see me mess up, and some have some successes and things. And so I 3D printed me enough stuff where I've got a Surface Pro 3. This, what you're looking at me 3 is actually looking through a piece of glass and at me, so I can make it a teleprompter. And then I've got, of course, you've seen the overhead and then the close-up one down here. So we can do all those sorts of things and get together. And I've used the overhead and the close-up a few times in some presentations where I'm using electronics for programming. I burn up some resistors, burn up a few LEDs, a few other things, and showing out what series and parallel means and other junk like that. And that seemed to work pretty good. So this is me messing with this stuff to figure it out. And one of the hardest things for me to do is figuring out how it's going to look when you're looking at it. Because I don't care so much when I'm looking at it because I get to see it. I want to see how you look at it and that it actually is right when you're looking at it as opposed to when I'm getting it in my preview sites. Because in my preview sites here, it looks pretty bad. But if you guys have, so I flipped it. So now I flipped it back and you can actually read it now. So that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to take up all this time or whatever, but this has been great. This has been great.
We like to stump the club. Bring the questions. We're here to help.
Okay, Harold. One last thing before you leave.
Yes,
Make
sir.
sure you put two switches on it, or a switch and a button. You got to have a switch to turn the power on, and you got to have a button to start and stop your robot. Those.
Make a note.
Because if you don't, that you'll be chasing that sucker all over the floor.
So, Doug, I think, are you saying that the button to stop it is more important than the button to start it?
Well, it should be the same button. So when you push the button once, it starts, and then when you push it again, it stops. And then you can decide whether you want to look it so it goes forward and back. But you're right, Carl. It's the stop. Well, I don't know.
I just used a deep
switch, and the wheels come on, and it goes off like before you even know what's going off. That's pretty bad too. So
I used a DPD switch and just have a power kill to all my motors so that I can, if something goes haywire, I just hit the power switch and kill the power to the motors entirely.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a good idea.
So, Harold, you're going to work that up and
stand, so you don't run it off the table the first time you power it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Harold, you're going to work this up and bring it back next week.
Yeah, all done. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay.
No, I don't know. I will promise to make some movement on it. How much movement, I don't know, but there will be movement. So
we know how these things go. It always goes slower than you expect.
yeah, I did have a bit of sad today though. I did submit a talk that is going to use this as some examples. So my deadline was going to be sometime at the end of June to have something that would actually run around a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was Kansas City Developers Conference, and they just canceled that today.
Oh no.
Stuff. I'm sad about that, but it's what it is, right? 2,000 people getting in the same place, getting close in is not probably going to happen for a little bit. So
probably not.
And so now my next deadline is the first week in August, and that's that conference, and that's really close to being canceled as well because they were sending out. They were supposed to announce speaker selections today or yesterday, and they didn't because they're debating on whether or not they can even have this thing. All in a hotel, all running around together, all that kind of stuff. For literally.
Well, that's a drag. But if there's anything we can help you with, it's with giving you artificial deadlines. So just let us know. We'll be glad to help. So, all right. Hey, so is there anyone else that had something they wanted to present tonight?
Well, I'd like to show you. I've been talking about this claw machine. Can y'all see it?
See me? If we click on you. Yeah.
Click on me. Okay. I've been talking about, I don't know why my camera froze up. Y'all, am I froze on y'all?
You're froze.
Why?
Like a low bandwidth, slow, I think.
Yeah, it's stop motion.
Oh man, what a drag. It just froze up. I can't show you anything now. I don't know why.
Michael,
maybe next week. Yeah.
Wait a minute, Mike. Can you just turn off your video and turn it back on? No, still frozen.
Let me try it on my, hold on, let me close. I gotta have my Logitech software running for this for some stupid reason.
All right, it's muted. Sounds cool.
Sounds like a new hand was dealt on.
He's back.
There we are. It's still a little grainy, but we got motion.
I will tell you, I had a hell of a time getting all 3 Logitech cameras showing up in OBS.
All right. You see it? You see me now?
Yeah.
Okay, back here in the back is, remember that claw machine I kept telling you guys about?
Yeah.
This is in the process right now, right here, and I've got them L298s running 4 stepper motors, and the carriages are like, here's the, there will be, I wish I was more prepared. Here's a carriage for it'll hang up here. It'll roll up on the top. Y'all can see that, right?
Yeah.
It'll roll up top, and there'll be some PVC. This is PVC right here for the frame. This will also be PVC, and the claw, the actual claw carriage is this right here. And I did all this is all 3D printed stuff. Nice. And what was interesting is the claw, which is right here. I think y'all seen that a couple of times, right here.
Yeah.
And this winds up the claw, and it goes over this, which is spring loaded, and it's got a limit switch there, a little micro switch that tells the claw to stop. Now here's what's neat about this is I use these drives that we use at the Robot Club, which also work for steppers.
Yeah.
But I was using the Arduino library, stepper library, and when they would stop, it was messing me up big time. So I ended up using the PWM to disable these steppers. So that, and it took me a long time to figure that out. And it works really good. So I'm running 4 steppers to run this whole thing. Now this is the X, this way and that way, and the claw hangs off of it. And here's what happened when I let go of the claw and I bring it up, and it's just hovering in midair. It turns this stepper into an idle mode where there's no energy on it at all, so it starts drooping. So I had that problem. So what do I do about that? Well, here's what I did. I'm going to show you guys this. I put a little servo on a ratchet. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whenever I stop the claw in midair, that servo will engage and stop that from turning. I thought that was kind of cool.
Lock
I was
it
a
in.
little proud of myself.
You should patent that.
Huh?
Patent that.
Yeah. And so whenever I go to finish raising the claw, this will disengage and I can turn this. So anyway, that's what I got going at home right now. And this is
beautiful work.
Thank you. This is actually the back of the. I'm thinking about putting this on the top actually. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'm using these connectors. I'm using these connectors to connect and disconnect. I got up to 6, so I can quickly disconnect the carriages and take this to different functions.
Are those like the XLR audio things?
No, they're more like a military thing. I don't even know the name of them.
Military,
but I'm telling you this because here's one like this has got 5.
Yeah.
5, see that? And they screw it. I don't like them. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm showing you that because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to convert it to these kind. To where I can screw the steppers in and then just plug them in and out when I need to.
A little easier.
That'll be a lot easier. So that's where I'm at with this. And here's the joystick lowering button. I mean, I haven't got an outside case on it, but I'm not very far from finishing this thing. So
you're close.
Yeah, real close. It's actually functional. It just looks like a mess, though, right? So, but it works, and I had fun trying to figure that code out and using the PWM on these drives. You know, the enable and disable the stepper, which it woke me up in the middle of the night one time trying to figure out what I got to do to get this. you know, that was kind of fun. I figured it out, and it was so cool. Also, what I'm running it with, I guess y'all can see behind this is an Arduino Mega back there. And I'm using a Mega, so eventually I'm gonna put some LEDs and a sound card, so that when they win their gift, they'll have some little music and stuff. So that's where I'm at.
Nice. And what's the claw going to grab? Little aliens?
Oh, it's gonna well, you know, the claw, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna grab candy probably. I'm gonna have these at like them Halloween carnivals, where this claw machine is designed to win, not to lose. So that the kids can stand in line, win them a prize, and move on. And that way, you know, and probably just put candy in there. Right now, I got these little animals my wife got at these little yard sales and stuff that I'm playing with. But
yeah,
that's what I got.
All sorts of goodies.
Oh, great,
yeah.
Great, Mike.
So that's all I got there.
Cool.
I just wanted to show you. Hey, maybe next one of these Saturdays when we finally get back together a few months from now or whatever, I can bring it up there and put it together and y'all can play with it a little bit. So here's what's cool about it.
Sounds like a monthly meeting.
I got this
meeting topic to me.
Do what now?
Sounds like a monthly meeting topic to me. I think somebody needs to make a presentation.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I could definitely do that. I was going to show you one more thing. This is actually the back, but the shield is actually separate from the frame. And I clamp the shield together. You see my hand back there?
Yeah.
With these little 3D printed things I made.
Cool.
And that's Lexan, of course. Yeah, I could do that one of these days. I would actually really enjoy that. So
you bring it in, and then we'll have a whole bunch of motor drivers and boards and things, and that's what the clock could grab.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, hey, this would be good.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let the contest winner pick out his prize.
That's right. Actually, yeah. When we have our races, they could just use that to pick up one of their prizes. Absolutely.
Or you can put it
out. Yeah.
You can put it on the course or the arena, and then when the robot craps out, it can pick up the robot.
I mean, have a time or two where I know Spark Fun does it time or two, but I'm talking about ultra cheap, like the Alibabas and the AliExpress. Just get a bag of their junk, you know, the grab bag of something for like $10. It's got 100 things in it, and then you know you get good stuff and bad stuff, and you don't know what you got. You know, that kind of stuff. That could be fun to pick and part out of that beer.
Yeah.
The good, really good stuff too. You kind of mix that in, you know.
Absolutely.
Hey, one thing Carl.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have to drop off, but one of the things that I think that you need to be thinking about is we've got according to, I think it's in 10 days, we're going to have. Let's see, not 10 days. Not 10 days.
11
days. 11 days. We're going to have a Roborama. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
so
no.
I think we happen to have on here Steve and John and Clay. And I would like to propose to the board that we officially cancel Roborama this year. We need to get it up there.
Yeah,
on the 25th. I would agree. Any objections?
No. And I suspect it'll be, well, based on everything I'm seeing right now, probably at least 2 months, assuming they can do tests type thing at least. So yeah, this is going to be a long haul type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put up a notice on the website. Okay.
And I'll put a comment on the meetup post as well.
Okay. All right.
And then maybe.
Okay,
Matt. I keep thinking there might be a thing you can do where. Oh, sorry, Harold. You were saying.
I got 2 in the junk drawer. If you want them.
Score.
You old optical mics. No.
I was going to say there's a like I think the donkey car community. I think they found a way to have these kind of virtual contests. So maybe there's a way we can do something like that just virtually if we want. But food for thought for the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need probably 3 cameras with 3 screens type thing together. But yeah.
Well, everybody's got to have a course too.
Well, that or else we do an outdoor thing, have outdoor courses.
Well, yeah, I think that we still ought to keep, Steve, that we ought to keep the picnic online for a little bit here. As we get closer to July, we can make a decision.
Yeah, that's fine. Leave that one there for now.
Yeah.
I just want to say something about. I'm really enjoying this tonight. This is really good. To having this online meeting stuff. I know it doesn't beat in-person stuff, but it's pretty cool.
I mean,
I'd like to see us do this every once in a while to allow people who can't make Robot Builders Night Out a chance to participate,
Right. Like a lot of times, it's hard for me to drive over to Carrollton a lot of times living over here where I live.
It'd be kind of cool if we could figure out how to do a telepresence too, but it's, anyway.
Yeah, maybe we should find somebody who knows how to build robots so they can build us a telepresence.
Yeah.
I wonder where I could find some of that.
Yeah.
All right. So anyone else? Would anyone else have anything to put up on the screen?
Oh, I was looking at something here. Can I? And this is mainly for Murray here. So Murray, you were saying, let's see, my entire screen. Let's see if it does it here. Share. Come on, share. I guess you said your partner was looking for like a pink card. So I was thinking, I don't know if they sell these in New Zealand here.
Yeah.
But you could probably make any car look pretty cute with those.
Thanks for that, Ray.
Power behind it.
Get out of here. I need to go see the shop for a little bit. Thank you very much for all your help. And
thanks for joining.
And you may see some of those suggestions in the near future. That's all I can really say.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I wish everybody, unless there's something else, everybody a good night. And we missed the first part of the recording, but I've got a copy of the chat window, and we'll get that posted and try to uncross our signals for next week's dial-in. I don't know what went wrong this week, but we'll sort that out for next week.
Okay. Fantastic.
Take care, all.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Be safe, guys.
We'll see you.
Bye for now.